Tyler are we going to talk about piss or ottomans?
How about a little piss?
Rick, why is there a man shooting piss on our front lawn?
I'm sure he'll tell you. I am Pissmaster.
Get mugged, I'm addicted to rizzing. Baby Gronk told me that I got mad Riz. Goon with me, join the Sigma Nation. Riz and show him how big your Drake is. Be Gronk, the Sigma that we gel for. L Don, the Pookie that we sim for. In Ohio, I saw you watch me edging. Skibbity Riz means edging with your best friend. Got out, that's something you can goon to.
That's hilarious. And welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Sundays with the Sprinkles. Happy weekend, everybody. It's just me today, solo. Brett Sprinkle here, as always. Tom's got a little bit of internet issue. Everybody else has scheduling conflicts, but it's all right. So we're going to make it through. We're going to figure it out. I am previewing the NFC North this week. Breaking down the NFC North, who's going to regress, and big hint, I think it's the Vikings personally. This is a big show for me because then my opinions are unbridled, unfiltered, and there's nobody to disagree with me, which is always nice. Breaking down the week that was around the league, avoiding talking about baseball at all costs because it's football season now, thankfully. NFL tried to ban smelling salts, and then they retracted almost immediately, saying teams can't give out smelling salts, saying it masks the symptoms of a concussion, which I think we saw, more than a few times, but I think one notably Josh Allen basically had his brain scrambled last year, if I remember correctly, and he just came back and did a smelling salt, and he was fine. He was able to pass the test. He was able to come off as not concussed at all, or whatever happened over there. So that was kind of funny. Shedeur Sanders, preseason Hall of Fame. He's basically the city of Cleveland is saved. 2 TDs in his preseason debut. Led the Browns on a touchdown on their third drive, which I think earned you a statue in that city, or at least a jersey retirement, from what I understand. So that's exciting for him. Stoked for that. But yeah, other than that, around the league, preseason football is back. Maybe Ashton Genty, less than stellar debut. I think he had 3 carries, -1 yards. And he has a new stance, which I think kind of the allure, some of the luster, because it was always fun when he was standing up, and running against, Western Michigan or Utah State, at 3 p.m. on a Saturday that nobody's watching, but now, or not even 3 p.m., like 7 p.m. on a Saturday, because they're all the way out on the West Coast. So beating up on shitty teams at a shitty time slot, that's what he was used to, but now he's, play on the Raiders, who are possibly a shitty team, and they play in prime time slots. So that'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. Elsewhere, Geno Smith flipped off Seattle fans. That was cool. I like that. Big fan of that. Seattle fans they're okay. They suck. I don't like them at all. Tom Brady is honored with a statue. Actually, I haven't seen this statue. Let me see what the statue looks like. I hope it's hideous. Actually, it's kind of a cool statue. All right, I'll just share my screen for this one. Hopefully my internet doesn't bounce out too bad. And there she is. That's not bad. It's not the worst statue in the world. I think you better look at it right here. That's not the worst. It's not the worst. Definitely not the worst. I like that. He did make a funny joke, which I thought was kind of hilarious. He said the statue isn't just for me. It's for the Jets fans to throw beer cans at whenever they lose to the Patriots, and usually in the second quarter. That was kind of funny, taunting them one more time. I did see some Patriots fans online get really mad at that, or some Jets fans online get really mad at that, and say some not so nice things. But hey, that's the internet. That's what everybody does. Well, I guess I could talk about baseball. The Mets, they're finished. I just don't understand what's going on. Carlos Mendoza's blaming the lack of adjustments in games for hitting. I think is the hitting coach, Eric Chavez. There's just something isn't clicking. Like, we're not winning close games. Like, pitching has been better the past couple of weeks, but we're just not winning close games. And it's been incredibly frustrating to watch. The Brewers fucking pocket – we're going up against the Brewers. I didn't realize they had a pocket pancake thing going on. Fucking manager pulls a pancake out of his pocket during a post-game interview, and all of a sudden they're 7-0. That's fucking horseshit. I want the league to investigate. That's not how that's supposed to go down. We're the only ones that can have gimmicks. Give me Grimace. Give me fucking Pablo Sanchez. Fuck you and your pancakes, man. That's horseshit. Yeah, the Mets are going against the buzzsaw. The Brewers just can't lose right now. They're young, they're spry, and they're just good. There's a good ball club, a good team, got a lot of young talent. They didn't go crazy at the deadline, kept a lot of that young talent, and they're definitely going to make some noise in the playoffs if they do eventually make it there. I don't think they win a championship per se, but honestly, you get October, anything can happen. Who cares? Over to college football. Archie Manning saying that Arch Manning will not leave for the NBA draft this season. We'll see. He says that, but we'll see. It depends. I know he's probably making a lot of money out there in Texas, but sometimes the allure of that, NFL contracts, being the first overall pick usually kind of takes over in your brain a little bit. Yeah, it's incredible to think about. Just last Thursday was the last Thursday without football until the Super Bowl. That's just an incredible, incredible thing. I love that so much. It's awesome. I think the Broncos play tonight against the 49ers. That's exciting. I'm trying to figure out when the first games are. Iowa State, Kansas State in Ireland. That's gonna be a shitty game. That might be worse than the fucking game last year. What was it? Florida State and what was it? Georgia Tech. Yes, I remember now. I lost money on that game betting on Georgia Tech. No, I bet on Florida State. Guys, it's been a bit of a morning. I don't know what you want from me. Florida State. Schedule. All right, looking it up now. God, they went 2-10. What a bad fucking year. Yeah, I know they lost to Georgia Tech, and I think I bet on Florida State. So whatever. I mean, I'm a loser, so whatever team lost or whatever the losing side was, that's where I came out on. That's the side I came out on. So I have no doubt that that's just where I ended up. But yeah, Iowa State, Kansas State here in just a few weeks, actually, over there in Ireland. Yeah, I'm so excited for football. I'm so excited just to have nothing to do on Saturdays and Sundays, but just sit on my couch and watch football. It's kind of the best. You try to make plans I'm going to be fun this weekend. I'm going to, do whatever. I'm going to get caught up on stuff. And then all of a sudden, Saturday rolls around. You're like, you know what? My couch is the perfect spot. And I'm sitting there with my laptop open, watching games. I'm playing video games like a child. And it's honestly the best time ever. It's, you never realize you're in the good old days, so you're in the good old, or tell it's the good old days. But you know what? Those are the good old days. I can't wait. It's up soon. Come. It's gonna be fantastic. I will say the big thing is just how fucking expensive it is to be a football fan, especially the season. I mean, every single year it goes up and up and up, but it's crazy. I know. Just last night, I wrote an entire piece on the cost it's going to come out to in order to watch every single game. So just to watch the primetime games. And if you're a cord cutter, that's fine. If you're not a cord cutter, you're still paying these costs anyway with the monthly cable bill. But cord cutters, you have to, in order to get every single nationally televised game, that's Thursday night football, Monday night football, Sunday night football, that's the Christmas game, everything. You have to have at least 6 different apps. That's Fox One, that's Paramount Plus, NBC, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and I'm missing one. Peacock. Oh no, ESPN, Peacock, Amazon Prime. All right, so that's money 75, and then there is Netflix. There is Fox One and Paramount Plus. Wait, I was in my mind. No, it's 6. Perfect. Regardless, it's going to cost like $700 a month just to get the primetime games, like coming out, all the monthly costs. And yeah, you can say, oh, you only get a month of Netflix for 1 month. I mean, sure, yeah, okay, you only get Netflix for 1 month. So it's minus that $20 for the other 5 months, and that's your price. So yeah, take $100 off of that just for yourself, and it's still an insane thing. So from September to February, it's going to come out to about $700 all total, which is preposterous. But then you factor in NFL Sunday Ticket with Red Zone, and that price boosts up another $500, leaving around $1,200 to $1,300 just to watch football this season, which is absolutely preposterous. And news came out. It was hinted at last week, but this week news came out that ESPN is purchasing the Red Zone brand from the NFL for 10% equity in the company, which I take to mean nothing. I mean, nothing's really going to happen right away. The sale is going to go through until next year. So, we have a year just kind of look ahead, kind of like what we did this last year with NBA and, inside the NBA, and just trying to cherish it for what it is before it gets ruined by some brand new network. But I feel like it's going to make the price go up eventually. It's got to. The price for football is just going to keep going up, and they're going to blame it on the fact that they have this new streaming service that they need to support. They need all the new cutting edge. I'm talking about ESPN, of course. They need all the new cutting edge, shows. They just need new content to pump out to justify charging people $30 a month. So that's something that's cool. That's going to happen eventually. Scott Hansen might stay on as the Red Zone commentator. I'm a Scott Hansen guy, but also, I grew up with Siciliano, so I get it. I get Tyler's stance on that, but Scott Hansen's just the GOAT. Scott Hansen's the GOAT. He's great. Just phenomenal. Also, the Speedway Classic, switching gears, literally, back to baseball. That was just a disaster. Turns out when you fit a baseball stadium inside of 100,000 person racetrack, the sightlines ain't so good. Surprise, shocker. And also, the game just didn't happen. It was raining. They tried to get it in, couldn't get it in. All those people were just stuck out in the rain, kept them around forever, just trying to get this game going. It just never happened. And it was just a calamity, especially when you look at how long it took them to build that goddamn baseball field. It took them 2 months. I think they brought in 18,000 tons of sand. And for reference, that is 45 cement trucks worth of just gravel, just to level out the field. And then they started building the baseball stadium. And, just absolutely just an incredible process. I saw the time lapse. It was awesome to watch, but just hearing how much work went into it and how much of a disaster the day of the event was. It's cool they're trying new things. I'm not sitting here saying the MLB shouldn't try new things, because the Field of Dreams one was so cool, especially the first season went off when, the White Sox hit that walk-off and Tim Anderson sitting there just screaming and jumping around like that. Well, there was nothing better than that. What an all-time moment. And it turns out that you can't recreate those moments all the time. Bad shit happens. I'm certain that MLB will try again with this venue. Then again, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll think it's not worth the trouble. But it was a cool story. It was a cool thing. It was the first baseball game in Tennessee, which is kind of cool. Or professional baseball game, I guess. But yeah, it was definitely something. All right, let's get to it. Let's start breaking down the NFC North. I'm going to start from the bottom. So last year, the Chicago Bears finished with a – oh, wow. Excuse me. I did not have the standings pulled up. All right, looking now. So Bears went 5-12 last year. They had a new quarterback. Eberflus gets fired halfway through the season. Couldn't figure it out on offense. Those problems, no more. Ben Johnson, formerly offensive coordinator for the Lions, now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I've heard mixed things in practice, seen some good things from Caleb Williams, seen some bad things from Caleb Williams. I think it's just kind of the year where people are overreacting. That being said, over under for the season, 8.5. Like I said, like Ben Johnson, he is one of the most creative offensive minds in the league right now. So it is going to be cool to see what he can do with that offense. They definitely retooled a bit, fixed the offensive line. They got new weapons on offense for Caleb Williams. They still have Sam Laporta. Excuse me, not Sam Laporta. They have Loveland that they grabbed in the draft. So I still have DJ Moore on the team, who was awesome. They have Roma Dunze, who was rookie last year, and then they got Luther Burden to Truth, who Luther Burden, character issues aside, still a very, very talented wide receiver. He's once thought of as a top 10 wide receiver, or the top 10, to go top 10 of the draft a few years ago. So excited to see what can happen with there. I feel like they have a lot of weapons now. I feel like they have a lot of good. They're in a good spot to kind of shake off that, last place team mantle that they've been wearing for almost feels like a decade now. Like I said, the offensive line got better. They allowed 68 sacks last season, and a lot of that was Caleb Williams holding the ball. Don't get me wrong, and I would say a ton of it was Caleb Williams holding the ball. So that's something he's definitely going to have to fix this year. Hopefully, with the new head coach, new OC, they get him out of that. Caleb Williams definitely one to watch. All eyes are on him because this team is going to go how he goes. And if he struggles again this season and the Bears have to start scouting quarterbacks again, that's going to suck. That's going to be really bad. They sit there at 3-10 or whatever again. That's going to be really bad. But, they finished with a little bit of momentum last season, new coach coming in, new regime and everything. I think they're over. Do I think the Bears make the playoffs? I don't think they make the playoffs. I think they finish at 9 wins, though. I think they finish above 500. I think so. I think they go over the 8.5 total. It's just there's so many other good teams in the NFC. I'm trying to think. Not everybody can go to the playoffs. And I think 2 teams in this division already are. So they'll just lose 2 more wildcard spots. Yeah, I'm not sure. Because we talked about the NFC. We broke down the NFC West a couple weeks ago. And, there's a lot of good teams out there. So we'll make the playoffs, but respectable 9 wins, in my opinion. One team I think really will regress is the Vikings. They were awesome last year, second in the division, finished 14-3, did get bounced to playoffs rather early. Sam Darnold, he got pressured. Things looked a little rough, especially towards the end of the season. Their total over-under for this season is 8.5. I'm going to go ahead and say right now I think that's under. I think they go under. I really like the coaching staff out there in Minnesota. But J.J. McCarthy is such a question mark, and I don't think he's an improvement at all over Sam Darnold. I mean, he's a young guy. I'm not knocking him. Coming off an ACL surgery, get a lot of playing time, but he's allowed to get those mental reps in if he took them. But sometimes, I found, especially with me, it's you can take all the mental reps in the world, but you have to have a good process for how you apply it and how you're able to kind of visualize it. And he's an NFL quarterback. I'm sure he does just fine. He has a good support system, but it's a different game out there when you're playing. And the 22-year-old is definitely in for a test. Defense is still going to be good. Offensive line is still going to be good. Running back might be a question. They still have Aaron Jones, who got Jordan Mason, and gave him a little bit of a nice little extension. So we'll see. And as I said, kind of similar with the Bears. All eyes are on the quarterback, but for different reasons. You want J.J. McCarthy to be the guy, but is J.J. McCarthy going to be serviceable enough to be a quarterback the whole season? That's going to be the big question mark. It's just it's kind of up to him. They have McCarthy. He has like I said, he has a great coach, great another great offensive line, and Kevin O'Connell. It's just going to be how he kind of handles adversity. It's going to be how he kind of handles the league. And I'm kind of curious. I haven't seen anything from camp. JJ, that's not how you spell McCarthy. JJ McCarthy. Ugh, apologies. Dude, I went to bed at like 5 in the morning for some reason, and like I wasn't even drinking or anything. I was just hanging out with the boys. Wild, wild thing for a 30-year-old man. Um, JJ McCarthy's arm strength releases 80-yard throw. Okay, I'm here for it. Speaking of that, Joe Milton looks so good. He's just chucking balls down there in Dallas. I think even hey, he might need to be the starting quarterback down there. You know what I mean? JJ McCarthy. What can we realistically expect from JJ McCarthy? I honestly was just looking for training camp like tweets and stuff like that, but I'm not finding them, unfortunately. Oh yeah, he's Justin. I forgot all about Justin Jefferson. Yeah, Justin Jefferson. I mean, that defense is still going to be good. Like, there's a chance that I'm 100% wrong, and they are really good in this division. I'm okay with that. Like, it's fine. These are just predictions, but I just don't think they're going to be that good. I don't think that they're going to win 14 games. But certainly, they're over under 8.5, which is a little lower than I originally expected it to be. Whenever I was coming up with how I wanted to parse this out, but I think they finish under. I think they get 5 wins, 6 wins is realistic. That's what kind of everyone thought they were going to do last year. Maybe they remain competitive, but I think that the Vikings the division is too good. Their schedule is going to be really tough, and they have essentially a rookie quarterback, who he's going to be making his first start in the NFL week 1. We'll see, but I just don't think that they have it in them. Moving on. The Green Bay Packers, 9.5 over under win total. They had 11. They finished 11-6 last year. Made the playoffs. Jordan Love, very very good. As it turns out, but he had some moments where he wasn't so good. They did get some wide receiver options. Went and got Matthew Golden. To kind of add to that, stellar young core that they have. But the key is Jordan Love. Like, he's making $220 million. It's a lot of money for the 27-year-old, and he's got big shoes to fill following Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, get this, won the Super Bowl when he was 27 years old, his lone Super Bowl. Why do I keep saying Caleb? Jordan Love, entering his age 27 season. Does he have to win a Super Bowl? I'm not saying he does, but Green Bay might be saying he does, because that's kind of I'm looking at 3 different articles talking about how a 27-year-old might need to be the year, and they might need to start looking elsewhere if they don't find it. So that's not me. That's Green Bay. They're kind of crazy up there in Wisconsin. Position at receiver, like I said, they're super deep. They're so deep they even apparently. I'm just reading this now. Actually, I didn't realize that they made one of their receivers into a defensive back, but Bo Melton is working at wide receiver and defensive back this offseason. So that's kind of cool, I guess, if you like that sort of thing. But what they always say is like DBs are always wide receivers that can't catch. So that's kind of a tough pill to swallow if you're Bo, but I'm sure he's got it figured out. I'm sure he's playing well. Matthew Golden, he's going to be one to watch, like rookie. There's a Jaden Reed out there. It's going to be crowded. There's going to be a lot of options for Jordan Love. Almost said Caleb again. That would be crazy. A lot of options out there, but they have some questions on defense. They have a really solid roster. They have a really good team, really good coaching staff. I was thinking about the NFC North, like with Dan Campbell. They have Matt LaFleur, Kevin O'Connell, and now Ben Johnson. It's a stacked coaching, stacked head coaching carousel in the NFC North. Does that work? Yeah, that's fine. So we'll see. It's kind of another situation. Like this is another one where it is going to be a lot of the quarterback, but you hope some of the other team will kind of like carry the mantle. And I think this is a roster that could carry the mantle should they need to. I think the Packers over 9.5 wins. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm still high on the Detroit Lions. I still think they're going to be a really good team. They have a really great roster. I think the Packers are a sneaky outside shot to win the division, though. I think if you look at the odds right now, look at betting, might be worth your time to place a little money on the Packers if you get good odds. Like gamble responsibly, obviously, but it's just something that I would definitely look forward to. And lastly, the winners of the division last year, the Lions went 15-2, bounced unsurreptitiously. Is it surreptitiously? Unsurreptitiously? That word popped into my head the other day while I was at work. I was like, ooh, I haven't used that word before. What does it mean? Doesn't matter. I'm going to use it anyway at some point. And I used it there. Unsurreptitiously. That's not how you spell that. Nope, it's not. There's no un. In a way that attempts to avoid notice or attention secretly. So unsurreptitiously would be the inverse of that. So when you don't try to avoid notice or attention. Yeah, okay, unsurreptitiously. That works. Can you unsurreptitious? So 20, dude, that's 20 points in Scrabble? I feel like that's kind of low. Doesn't matter. You know what's funny? Can't even remember what I was using the word for anyway. So the Lions over-under total, win total is, oh, yeah, they got bounced in the playoffs. Yeah, no, it was unsurreptitious because it was pretty loud. You know, the Commanders came in, beat the piss out of them. Yeah, no, see, hey, you know, I'm on it. Let's go. So it's over under 10.5 wins for the Lions this year. They did lose both their coordinators. Which can always be a blow, but the cogs of the machine turn, and the team marches on. So they have two new coordinators. It is going to be difficult. I'm seeing some stats right here. Eagles lost, Shane Steichen, John Gannon after their 2022 Super Bowl run, which led to a tough season for them the next year before their replacements were fired. The 2013 Bengals lost Jay Gruden, Mike Zimmer. 2004 Patriots lost Charlie Weiss, Romeo Crennel. 49ers in 94 lost Mike Shanahan, Shadow Broncos, and Ray Rhodes. And they all failed to win the Super Bowl the next year as well. Worth noting, the 2013 Bengals did not win the the Super Bowl, but I don't know why they are on this list. But you get it, whatever. But new offensive coordinator John Morton and defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard. I think names are important. I think when you see a name, it needs to pop like Brett Sprinkle. Great name. Shout out me. Kelvin Shepard for defensive coordinator and John Morton. Like, that just sounds like the most boring room of all time. And then you throw in Dan Campbell. It's an electric factor. I'm saying, like, those two, it's just like, wow, that's – without knowing what they look like, I don't know anything about them. Without knowing what they look like. That's just my, reading their names for the first time. It's the first time I'm hearing them. I might be out. I might be out on their coaching staff. So my prediction might change in real time. You guys might see that. But Hard Knocks, definitely back. That stadium that just completely blocks out the wind, kind of freaking cool. And the fact they did all the science to make sure that if there's a wind tunnel, it has enough places to display so it doesn't become an issue and start swirling above the stadium. Also kind of cool. Just saying. So yeah, they're replacing their coordinators. They're also getting the player who would have been the defensive player of the year last year because he was just on an insane tear. Aiden Hutchinson, he's back from injury. They're also, excuse me. I also have Zadarius Smith, who they traded for last year and did not sign back. So that's kind of a tough deal. It's kind of a tough pill to swallow. But Hutchinson returning is going to be important for that defense. Getting after the quarterback, if Hutchinson can return to just 80% of his old how he played last year, he's going to be really freaking good. I remember he was one of those guys coming out of the draft that they said, oh yeah, he's a high floor but low ceiling. Keep busting to that ceiling, brother. Looking good every year. The injury is tough road to come back from. So we'll see how he responds. But from what I'm understanding, from what I'm seeing from camp, all signs point that he's good to go. Offensive line might be an issue for them this year. They did have their center kind of retire somewhat suddenly. I want to say it was just a few weeks ago. But, they they're going to ground. They're going to grind the ball out. They're going to ground and pound. Still have Jahmyr Gibbs. Still have David Montgomery. So they still have Sonic and Knuckles. That's going to be big for them. Going to have a great defense. Still one of the best rosters in the division. Still one of the best rosters in the league. Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff has been crazy consistent for them. Can he keep up that consistency with a new offensive coordinator? These are questions that are going to be answered in due time. I think the answer is yes to all those questions until proven otherwise. 15 wins last year. I kind of think that they're sneaky shot for the Super Bowl this year. It's kind of just how sports works sometimes. So do I think they go over their 10.5 win total? No. I think they do 10 wins. I think they get in as a wild card. Packers win the division, but Lions go on an insane run, make their first Super Bowl, and however long it's been since they made the Super Bowl. When were the Giants last in the Super Bowl? That's what I'm going to look up. Not the Giants. I am fucking all over the place. It's been so long they're giving me preseason games. That's crazy. Have they ever been to a Super Bowl? They've never appeared in a Super Bowl? God damn. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, they got to break that streak, bro. That's crazy. Never been? Brother, how long have you been in the league? 1930 to 2024. Haven't been to a fucking Super Bowl. That's miserable. My God. Yeah, they need to do something out there. That's crazy. Well, yeah, that's my prediction for them. Make a fucking Super Bowl, dude. They need it. They're due, at the very least. Can't really say anything more about that one. Yeah, but that's the NFC North preview. So, yeah, you're here to hear for. I mean, in my opinion, is the only one that matters anyway. And I think the Packers win the division. I think the Lions get in as a wild card. I think the Bears improve slightly, and I think the Vikings stink. I feel pretty good with that. I don't have any last little tidbits or anything. I did not watch the Esports World Cup. All is to say, though, that esports kind of coming up. The Esports World Cup Challenge or whatever it was really opened some eyes, turned some heads. And I mean, I even saw. CNN started talking about it this week. It did some interviews. What else? My work's I'm starting to get my job to cover it a little bit, so, something slight, that type shit. And it's definitely going to be, Tyler might be onto something here. We might have maybe a good thing that we have, our, esports correspondent, Tyler Sprinkle. But, that's going to do it for me. I know this was a shorter stream than we usually do. Everyone was kind of some scheduling conflicts and some natural weather kind of ruined everyone's day, but, we march on. I think, hey, I'm going to pat myself on the back. So solo episode, not bad. We found some things to talk about. We've looked some things up. Yeah, it was a little stupidity, but, I'm pretty dumb a lot. I'm pretty dumb a lot, actually. I'm not pretty dumb sometimes, but most of the time. But, yeah, that's going to be our show. Thank you guys, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Go and like, subscribe and like. We will see you next week. I think we don't want to break down next week. We've done the Western, Northern. Do we go South or East? All right, let's go South. AFC South next week. We'll be back same time, probably a little earlier, but we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Big man blast stories, 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 big man blast stories.